measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken, we just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Refracted Curvature, Christian, Neil, Click OK, and a whole bunch of people in the Flipside Discord server, so welcome one and all.
How are you?
I'm all right. Not too bad at all.
Can't handle the curvature.
What was that, John?
I said you can't handle the curvature.
You can't handle the curvature. So we were doing a little skit in the pre-show. A few flat men. Which I might go through later on the live show. Although I do have other plans to begin with. So I'm probably saw me on camera when I started the live show, still flicking my way through emails and indeed PayPal, which is where the very generous Tamara, who has sent me a load of books, tends to get in touch with me when she's sending me money just to communicate with me, which I'm very grateful of. However, she sent me at great expense several books, and I actually managed to read one of them, admittedly the most basic one that was addressed to Clover, my youngest daughter. But yeah, nonetheless, Level Playing Poem, Flat Earth Introduction. Now, I did read the section on me, which is about a third of the way into the book, but I'm going to read the introduction to you, and then maybe I'll later on read another poem that I have actually marked out ready by folding the corner of the page over. Sacrilege. Introduction to Flat Earth. I'm starting a poem. I'm trying to rhyme, so maybe it'll make sense what I'm saying this time. Break free from the chains, break free from the lies. I hope that this poem will help open your eyes. That's the introduction to Level Playing Poems book, Flat Earth Introduction. Now, the reason I was looking on my iPad is because I sent her a message late evening yesterday to say, when I do go through this book, it'd be nice to be able to direct the audience to where they can actually get a copy of it. And she hasn't replied yet. Now, I do have 3 other books that I'm going to go through once I've read them. So I have actually read this one with my wife, or to be more accurate, have my wife read it to me. But nevertheless, I've gone through it and obviously looked through it to a certain extent as well, to the point where I'm happy picking out a couple of poems, reading the bit about me, and indeed presenting it to a live audience. So once again, that's Level Playing Poem, Flat Earth Introduction, poems by Tamara Chevelle. So, or is it Cheville? Hopefully I'm saying your name correctly. Sorry if I'm butchering it. But there we go. I'll, in future references to this, hopefully be able to tell you where you can get your own copy of it and maybe direct you to a YouTube channel if she's got one, things like that. So I've asked her for that information, just haven't got it yet. But as I've got 4 books to go through, this is the first I will read, hopefully, if I don't forget, another poem from it that I've marked out ready to be read on this live show. So that's my plug for Flat Earth Introduction by Level Playing Poem. Thank you very much for sending them me again, Tamara. Really appreciate it. As I say, the other thing we did was A Few Flat Men. Did you guys like my script then, I take it?
Yes, I liked it, but I think we got to go up a little bit more to the beginning questioning, which should only be about 4 or 5 lines.
It was ace. Get that in, that part, Neil, Nathan.
What do you mean? I mean, if I can get Refracted's attention, we might do it again now if I can get him. If he's around. Are you there, John?
Yeah.
You want to do it again?
Kids are asleep too. It's probably about time.
You want to do it again or not? You don't have to.
You said it's a bad time.
Oh, it's a bad time.
No, I said this would be the best time. My kids
best?
are asleep right now.
Okay. Do you want to do it again, Neil?
Yeah, let me get it. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm ready.
You ready, John? Wally's.
1 second.
Well, I'll do an introduction to the audience. So what we're doing is a little script I wrote during my eldest daughter's art class today, where I'll typically be writing anecdotes for the upcoming book that's going to be released hopefully around Easter time. Instead, this will probably make the book as well, so not wasted effort in that regard, but a script off the back of yesterday's after show where we were thrashing our way through some parts of A Few Good Men and turning it into You Can't Handle the Curve and things like that, right? So off the back, I said, look, I'll develop a little script from the main section of that back and forth between Jack Nicholson and Tom Cruise, with the judge interluding occasionally, or interjecting, I should say, occasionally. So that's what this is going to be. So this is A Few Flat Men. We're all ready, gentlemen?
Yep.
You used a flat Earth angle measurement.
Contempt, you don't only measure Earth flat.
Did you measure the Earth flat?
You don't have to answer that question.
Answer the question. You want angles?
I think they're inevitable.
You want angles?
I want the truth.
You can't handle the truth, little boy. We live in a world that has vertical walls parallel to the plane of reference. Those walls are measured at 90 degrees. Who's going to know we need horizontal when referencing Earth for the measurements? I have a great responsibility to use EQ mounts for the full 24 hours of angle measurements. It's more than you could ever fathom. You weep for anarchy and you curse the anti-flat earthers. You have that luxury. You have the luxury of knowing what I know, that the Earth, flat Earth angles made in Antarctica, what tragic, are the same angles that save lives, and my angle measurements, while grotesque, save lives. You don't understand that truth, because deep down in places you no longer talk about at parties, you want me on that ice wall, measuring those angles. We use words like level, parallel, plane. We use these words you use them as a punchline. I have neither the time nor the inclination to explain these flat measurements to a man who rises and falls under the flat sky I have measured, enjoying the flat angles I provide. I'd rather you said thank you and went on your way. Otherwise, pick up a sextants and calculate a circle of equal elevation. Either way, I don't give a damn what you think is inevitable.
Did you measure Earth flat?
I did the job that I have.
Did you measure the Earth flat?
You goddamn right I did.
MPs, secure the lunatic. We don't only measure Earth flat.
There you go. A Few Flat Men. So after writing that, I spent quite some time trying to find a AI program that was free that would allow me to put the script in and just have it turn into a video. I was not successful. Not unless I wanted to part with 120 quid, which I did not. So I'm hoping that one of my panel members, maybe Len, will turn up and I'll go, oh, hi, Len. Any chance that AI program that you've already paid for can be put to use by churning this script into a video? And we'll see if it can generate an AI script from it. Thank you very much, Neil and Refracted Curvature, for doing that. They did do a run-through in the pre-show, so that was actually rehearsed, believe it or not. But yeah, my characters are Toon, who's the Colonel by parody. So he's obviously talking about measuring his full 24 hours of elevation angles on that wall. And then you've got Judge Simon Dan and the very handsome, very dashing Nathan Cruise as the prosecutor. That would be me. So those are the characters in that particular skit. Obviously, Jack Nicholson being the Mucktoon Looney Tune character, the defense witness, and that was played by John, and obviously the Signman Dan Judge character being played by Neil. So I thank you both.
My freaking 3 big lines.
You are.
Somebody had to keep order.
Yes. Indeed.
You did it epically.
But it requires somebody read a whole massive chunk of speech, like Jack Nicholson's, being on the wall. We use words like level, plane, horizon. You use them as a punchline. We use them as the backbone of measuring Earth flat.
That was really good.
That's that. What else is there to talk about today? Done my level plane poem. I could read the other one.
Didn't some people give you videos of normies I've seen in, we're not doing them anymore?
No, we can do that. I'll do another poem before we do, though. As we've the thespian type reading poetry and doing skits, I'll read this poem to round it out. As I say, I don't have the information to direct the audience where to go, but I will for the next book that I read. So this is another from Level Playing Poem Flat Earth Introduction, which was sent with a handwritten note to Clover from Tamara. So thank you very much. That's Level Playing Poem for sending this. And this will be today's last poem. And this one is called Flat is Not a Shape. Flat is not a shape, as many can get stuck on that word. Flat is the level, horizontal description of the Earth's plane. Don't get deterred. That's it. Some great images on this as well. Lovely artwork. Wonderful. Thank you again, Tamara, or Level Playing Poem, for sending me all of this. I did read out the bit about me, self-indulgent that it would be to do on the live show. I did that in the pre-show, along with the introduction earlier. And hopefully tomorrow or whenever, maybe in a couple of days' time, I'll go through the next one. I've got 4 of them, one to each of us. One was the one that was addressed specifically to Clover, as it was that little bit more easy to read and digest, hence the poems being quite basic. There you go. Did you enjoy the poetry from Level Playing Poem? Yes, Nathan, we thought it was wonderful. Oh, that's good.
Outstanding.
Awesome. Dee Dee posting it in the YouTube chat and the FED chat right now.
What, the video that we'll be covering today?
Level Playing Poems at the moment.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, perfect. Right, yes, I can lift that link. Thank you so much. I was a little bit sad that I wasn't going to be able to do that. Excellent, excellent. Right, let's stick that in the live stream chat. Oh, no, where's my... There it is. Oh, somebody's already doing it. Divergent droids all over it before me. Perfect. Thank you very much indeed. So there's a link so that you can go to Level Playing Poem. Brilliant. Thank you, lads. Much obliged. We'll cover another one tomorrow, I don't doubt. I mentioned that we'd finished the read-through of the 6th draft my wife's put together.
Today you didn't mention it. I didn't hear you mention it.
So over the last 2 or 3 days, we're doing it little and often, the editing of the book through the last couple of drafts. And we're now at the point where we've got a full 6th draft together. And my wife just wanted to get straight into editing it. She was like, we'll spend 2 or 3 days on each chapter and we'll just, edit it together. And I was like, no. I want to read through what we've got in its entirety, start to finish, so that we're familiar with the material as we move it around. Like, say, no, this chapter needs to be earlier than that chapter and that chapter needs to come at the end. Along with slotting in that little skit, which I'll put in somewhere, wherever the Antarctica references are, if there are any. I can't actually remember. Should remember, as I'm sure there is something to do with Antarctica in there somewhere. If not, I'll add it. But yeah, the book's good. It's a good book. I'm very pleased. It needs a bit of reordering in terms of, like I say, which chapters go in which order. There's a couple of anecdotes that aren't necessarily next to the right housekeeping chapter. But beyond that, it's really, really good. I'm very pleased with what we've got. That's probably why I'm so relaxed today. Because when you've taken stock and it's taken 3 or 4 months or however long it's taken my wife, maybe 2 months to take stock, it can be quite stressful while that process is going on. So now, having had it read out to me by the person editing it, I've got a good idea of what I need to change as the chapters progress. That's to say, in the earlier chapters 1, 2, 3, there's very little to do. There's like a couple of half a dozen, maybe most little changes to make, but not much. And then as the chapters get into the higher numbers, they need more and more work, so it'll take more and more time. And then once we're through with that, I'll shove it into the noses of people from the panel, whoever's willing or wants to involve themselves in that process. That is to say, having a little goosey in advance of it getting published, in case there's anything egregious that somebody notices. Shouldn't be the case by that stage. That'll be the 7th draft.
Well, that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons I didn't want to be too much a part of the book. I wanted to be able to be a critic and tell you how horrible it was.
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. But pre-publication, that's the kind of critical eye. I'll be like, look, I'm happy with this at this stage. But before it's actually published, tell me what you think isn't quite right. At the moment, there's a lot of rhetoric about housekeeping that I want to alter. As much as it was perfectly acceptable 2 years ago when the book was starting to be written to phrase all of the housekeeping subject matters in the way that they are, now I want to go through it, having heard it, and go and insert every single reference that requires a flat earth to do. Do you remember when Brian would be like, don't interrupt my story to point out that you need a flat earth for that? We all know that already. Let's just get through the globe rhetoric so that you can understand it as they would put it down on the table. Well, now it's down on the table in my book, right, in terms of each housekeeping question. It might not be all of the most recent housekeeping questions in there, by the way. If they're not like they've been consistently in like at least 2 or 3 years worth of shows, and they were added in the last 6 months or something, then it's not worthy of becoming a chapter. Sorry. But the sentiment has changed, so why not reflect that in each housekeeping question? Where there's a flat earth prerequisite, point it out. Doesn't matter that it's any evidence of earth curvature. I can now point out that during the process, your horizontal parallel eye level is required, and that needs to be pointed out every single time it's mentioned. So from that perspective, it will take a little bit of 2 or 3 days per chapter to make those adjustments. But the bulk and body of what's the information about each thing we cover each day is generally very globe related, obviously. So therefore, I wanted all that information to be rich in the book, and it already is. The rhetoric change or rhetoric change, however you'd say that, can just be added in this editorial process, which is good, right? It hasn't been in front of anybody or released, so it's not like it needs to be a second revision. The first revision will come out with all of the corrections to our current rhetoric made to the housekeeping question. As it's being read, you'll read about how Earth is being measured flat, along with how the story of the globe is incorporating a Thea smashing into a world in a glancing blow in a orbital motion that's working with respect to a plane of reference. Whereas the bit that I just said last, working with respect to a plane of reference, isn't necessarily there currently in that chapter as an example. So that's something that I will have to add in. But that's why it's not coming out tomorrow. It's still got a little bit of work to be done on it to make it 100% as I would hope it to be. And everybody else wants that, right? Everybody wants to read through a chapter on gravity and hear how Earth is measured flat during that discussion about what gravity is for them, how it's been dealt with in the debate, who invented it, what versions are there of it, and how a flat Earth is needed to suggest it, wrong though it may be. So that's what will be incorporated into the chapters moving forward. Other than that, like I say, the bulk of what you'd want on a chapter on gravity or a chapter on scientific evidence or a chapter on molten iron cores, it's all there. right? The material's all there already. Substantial.
Hey, do you want some
Good.
Do you want some Principia citations?
I've got enough citations. I'm good. I want to pare them back. That's what I always wanted to do. While, my trumped up editors went a bit overboard, gathering a bazillion citations. I wanted to have my book fact checked with potentially a citation where absolutely necessary. And I've got many
I'm
to choose
saying
from. Good.
Like where you say that gravity requires a plane of reference, right? Wouldn't it be necessary to show where Newton states that explicitly and implicitly?
Yeah, that would be useful. But it may not be necessary. My general tone and demeanour is to try and make these points without needing citation, because that's just how I've operated on the show. It's out of inconvenience to go and look something up on the fly. When my opponent, who's just got their mic and their web browser and the show's coming through their ear holes, me yelling at them about how they're using a flat earth, they have got the luxury of being able to go and look up a citation. Me, running the live show, I've never had that privilege, so I've always fought my position in a way that didn't require me to go and dig out citations unless absolutely necessary. And even then, I'd have people provide them to me on the fly. That would be you guys, basically, my panel would do that for me, right? Like a butler.
Well, Nathan, it does not take long in the Principia. It's actually in the introduction.
Oh, okay. Of course it is. That makes perfect sense. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing that I'd hope that you guys would look at when reading it, when I go through it with you guys in, I don't know, it'd probably be 6 weeks, something like that, and go, right, here's what I think is finished. And when we get to the gravity bit, you go, why don't you put in a citation from the Principia and point out that within the first couple of pages, a flat plane's being detailed explicitly as required by Newton himself. You're like, yeah, that would be a great addition at that point. But then it's like a brief sentence while I'll have my wife on the call actually doing the work there and then, and it'll be like, right, everyone be quiet while we actually do that. And then it'll get put in that moment rather than it being a note for a later date, which is what I'm taking mentally now from you. So yeah, there's going to be various different things that you all go, no, it could do with this, a little bit of this. But so long as what you get to read when we go through that process is like 90% there or 95% there, which is to say you just enjoy hearing the chapter on distance to the sun and you're hearing it going, yeah, I like this. And then you go, after hearing it, wouldn't it be good if you had X? We go like, right, let's do that immediately and just slot it in.
Yeah, most of the citations, though, like if you really look at them, the flat plane is always there in the first paragraph. it's like you said, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
You look at Andrew Thomas Young's paper. That's in the introduction, the very, very beginning of his paper.
Yep. It was something I learned from Yes Minister when they were dealing with a comedy series on BBC, in case you don't know what Yes Minister is, taking the mickey out of government. And you've got the permanent secretary and the minister discussing an awkward situation. And the minister's like, well, how do we bury the tragic circumstances? Do we put it on the final page? And the permanent secretary's like, no. You don't bury the awkward truth in the back pages. You put it on the cover. And he's like, what? It's like, yeah, that's how you get people to ignore it and brush immediately past it. Put it on the cover. Make it the title. And then bullshit for the rest of the pages after brushing past it.
So just to be sure, 68 days, we're going to have a copy of this book because that's when Easter is.
Yeah, give or take.
All right. That sounds good.
I mean, I would hope it will be available for purchase then.
That's even better. I'm just saying, I don't know if you realize these two are so close,
Oh, yeah.
but that's really good news.
Yeah. Like I say, it's good. I'm really happy with where it's at. It just needs a bit of polishing. There's a bit needs adding here and there. More so in the later chapters, less so in the early chapters. It needs a bit of reordering, spell checking, you guys checking it, and then it gets published.
Well, you know what? I think we owe these guys a thank you because we still would have been waiting for a comfy chair.
Probably. Yeah, my wife didn't muck around. She did it a little bit each and every night. You know, she'd get it out and she'd do an hour and then she'd give up like really late, 10 till 11 p.m. maybe. Sometimes she'd do it till midnight. But she'd bung on a show that she was watching on Netflix called Younger. And it was by coincidence. She just bunged it on one day. She's like, I just need something in the background to distract me when I get bored of it or be overwhelmed or whatever. So the show that she was watching was about a woman pretending to be 20 years her junior to get a job as an editor in a magazine, or a publicist rather, that was publishing books. So she's doing the work editing my book whilst watching a show about somebody pretending to be a lot younger, working
Nice.
in a place that edits and produces and distributes books. So that's what she was watching while she was doing it. So she's worked little and often, and that's what we've been doing the last couple of nights or 2 or 3 days or however long it's been that we've been doing the read through. And I was quite pleased that it took that long, you know, because I was concerned that, you know, one night, an hour, and then it would be done. You're like, wow, that didn't take long to read. If I'm charging 40 quid for it for the sake of argument, like 39.59 was joked about. It's like, well, that might end up being the price. And if it's 40 quid and it's not reasonably big, you'll feel robbed. You know what I mean? You want it to be reasonably chunky. If you've got a copy of it, a physical copy of it, you want to put it on a coffee table, having read the first third, and then gone, well, got to go to bed now. You want to be able to get that person to want to pick it up again, having not finished it in an evening. You know what I mean? And I don't get me wrong. There's going to be people out there that will just read it cover to cover and get it done. Bosh, one and done. But for the most part, I want it to be at least, you know, for the most average Joe that reads it, not capable of just being read all the way through immediately. Not that there's anything wrong with that if it was, but you know what I'm getting at. You want it to be substantial.
I don't know. It's the quality, not the quantity, but I understand what you're saying. It's got to at least be a certain amount of pages.
No, it's not. The quality's fine. What it's about is what it's about. It's about housekeeping, right? And as you're reading it, there'll be so much familiarity in what we do, condensed into the paragraphs of each chapter on each housekeeping question, peppered with anecdotal stories about my 10 years in Flat Earth. Obviously, I like those bits best because they're stories about me. But you still want it information rich about the topics that we've covered for the last 10 years, which are mostly globe related. There'll be the extra added salt and pepper of how Earth is required to be flat added now in the process that we're going through now, through the 7th draft. No, it'd be 8th draft? No, 7th, that's right. My wife's just done the 6th. So yeah, 7th draft will have me altering a lot of those chapters to bring them in line with our current rhetoric, if I could say that word correctly. And that's it. You know, there's you just want, like I say, you want it to be good value, and I don't want it to be cheap either. Something that's taken 10 years to achieve in terms of the material that's actually going into it doesn't have to be cheap. You know what I mean? Or at least I don't feel so. I want it to be expensive, as in it's not just some throwaway flat earth book. It's substantive in terms of the information rich, good, as in you want to read more anecdotal information about me and the crazy bonkers people that have been around in this arena for 10 years and some of the crazy stories of things that have happened with them. Because they are interesting. The anecdotes are fascinating in terms of, you know, we were doing A Few Good Men earlier. That's an interesting anecdote. Interesting enough to parody an entire section of a film based on occurrences of measuring angles on ice walls, right? It's anecdotally interesting to read if you're chewing your way through the book. But that's what you want if you've paid good money for it. And that's what I want. I want people to have spent money on it going, you know, well, that's not 10 quid. like most throwaway books. That's a fair wedge more, better be good. And then within the first couple of pages, you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. And then by the third page, you're not concerned that you've spent 40 quid on it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I got you.
Yeah. And that was one of the things I was worried about, the way the other book was reading. It was not the other book, but the last edited version. It was reading like
a reference book.
a really bad book.
Book of citations.
Yeah, book of hyperlinks. I mean,
And links to servers and links to freaking whatever. Yeah.
yeah, but the thing that I've liked most, right, yesterday, literally within the last 12 hours, yesterday evening, my wife read the last chapter, which I wrote. It was one of the first chapters I wrote when I started doing them at my art class. Neil, do you remember when I was sending you these chapters, some sections from them?
Yes.
Well, one of the first ones I wrote was about the debacle with the fifth draft. And there's a certain degree of bitterness and disdain in there that may remain. But do you remember me saying, I'm going to have a really good last chapter? Yeah? Well, I do.
Yes, I remember.
Now the dust has settled and I'm less annoyed and less spitting feathers. My wife read it out and I started to cringe when she started to read it because immediately you get the emotions back when you've written something in an emotional state. You get those feelings come back. And that's what happened as she started to read it. But as she got halfway through, I'm like, this is an excellent chapter. You know, it's really juicy. It's salacious as all frick. And it's just a good end to the book. And sort of the rounding out point is, you know, our current rhetoric, which is we measure Earth flat. Most of it's inconsequential because it's just measured flat. And that's wrapped up in, you know, the betrayal of two editors' so-called friends trying to claim my story as their story. You're like, okay, that is juicy and did and does and will. It's hard to describe it all current tense because I'm doing it, past tense because it's something that's happened, and future tense because you haven't read about it yet. I don't know how you have past, present, future tense, but that's what I'm trying to do when I describe this, because that's what it is. And it's a slightly overwhelming experience. It's good in a very good way, and I'm delighted. It's a very good chapter, and that's the hardest book, right? How do you hardest part of the book? How do you round it out? How do you end it on a note that you go, that was good, you know? And that's one of my primary concerns with writing a book, full stop. You've got to have a good ending. And if it's a book about factual information, like debating about the nature of Earth, how you believe it's a sphere, how it's measured flat, and some of the crazy anecdotes that have gone along with that process of learning, you think, well, I can get how that would be deeply interesting to somebody involved. But for every man who reads it, picks it up and takes it on a plane with him because he needs something to kill a couple of hours with, you need it to actually have a good ending so that you're satisfied with the book and it's memorable when you finally finish it and you go, oh, you should read this, it's really good. Because it's really good is normally based on the last couple of paragraphs. The first couple of paragraphs dictate whether or not the person will actually get to the last couple of paragraphs. And you want the information in between to be dense, like good quality information about a subject that is rich in information and heavy going at points, right? I wanted, and I've definitely got this, some of the chapters to not be the easiest to cope with, right? Like you go, bloody hell, this is heavy going. You're like, yeah, it is. You're not wrong. It's going to be mentally challenging for some people to go through some of the chapters as you're having some of the stuff broken down. Like linguistically, I'm pretty good, without blowing my own trumpet too much, at getting these words in a way that is as simple and as concise as I feel I can achieve so that you can understand the point. But it doesn't mean it's easy to comprehend in spite of how concise I can make the words. So there's going to be chapters that I said this previously, that you'll have to read through a couple of times. Now that is ideal if you're spending a decent amount of money on it. You're like, man, this is a lot to take in. You're like, yeah, good. That's why it costs money. You know what I mean? That's why it's not a throwaway amount or even free. Because to be able to comprehend this is difficult enough, let alone putting it in a way that doesn't take up 20 pages for one little concept to be understood. You know, I need to get it down to a paragraph so that you can go, "Phew, bloody hell, I need to put this down at this point." You know, having read about the molten iron core and the derivatives, it's too much to take in. So I'm going to put the book down. I do want to come back to it though, but bloody hell, this is a bit of a mind fry.
You want to say something, CC?
Am I off now? Yeah, just there's a guy, David Raid, in the chapter of the YouTube chat, asking, is there going to be a chapter on Jaren?
Yeah, there's a chapter on Jaren. It's anecdotal, so it's incorporated into the science chapter. So there's a section specifically about Jaren. Now, none of these people will be named. That is to say, by the time the book is... That's something else I'm going to have to do in the 7th draft. Change all the names. So where it will be Jaren, it'll be Turncoat Jesuit or something. You know, I'll give him a new name. I do have a load of names.
I like that one.
You know, I've got...
Sweet.
Yeah, but you said the book is past, present, and future. The ending. You know what else is a past, present, and future book? Revelation. So you're on the right track there. And it's truthful. It's what happened. So I can't wait. And I know a lot of people can't wait.
Yeah.
It's what is, right?
Yeah, that's fading it.
What is anything that is both past, present, and future.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm looking through my fake names and I just can't seem to see Jaren. Maybe I haven't given him a name already.
Boy, that Jesuit turncoat is perfect.
It's going to be something Scampanella.
Can't see him.
That's too close, though. People will guess that immediately. But you hit it with a Jesuit turncoat.
You want to hear some of the fake names? Don't guess who they are, okay? Because then I'll have to go and make a new one. So we've got Art Horizon World. Do I need to describe what these people are? I don't mind. I've got in brackets what this person is. So, for instance, Art Horizon World, photorealistic artist. Don't guess who it is. Ernie Duoport, tantric yoga expert. Simon Gherkin, pharmacist. Leslie Triplehorn, transsexual radio host. No, sorry, trans radio host. I read that wrong. Legolas, Satanist podcaster. Quantum Entanglement, camp Scientologist. Bob Nodell, dead, so who cares? He can keep his name. Antonio Subrats, also dead, so who cares? You can use his real name. Nth Man for 10th Man. Ethan Woodley, if I decide that I'm going to rename me in the book. All taken from, or not all taken from, some taken from Globe Earth Dictate. Johnny Bravissimo, Kung Fu Guru. William Hicks, propaganda podcast host. Soviet Vids, conspiracy theorist. Julian Flipflopper, Globe Earth Turncoat Jesuit. Mark Wise, Flat Earth Jew. Go There and Screw, random YouTube talent podcast host. David Day, Nighty YouTuber. Simulacra Decode, YouTube videographer. Runt of Flat Earth, Ken Burns conspiratard. Globe Earth Dickhead, wannabe comedian. Neil Soprano, ex-con gangster FED guest. Pseudoscience Steve. Stan Workst. And that's about it.
I can recognize most of those.
I did have a name for Jaren in there, I just didn't pause. I found it. There you go. So those will have to be incorporated in, so I'll just change everybody's names. There's a couple of people out there that have already heard what they're fake. I say a couple. One, Mark Knight. I told him, I was like, this is what I'm going to write about you. I sent him a section and he gave me a thumbs up, even though it was a little bit derogatory in parts about him and his key rings that he was selling. He still gave me the thumbs up. So, as I say, I haven't skewed any of the information unless it's for the purposes of being more concise, right? I might take a little bit of artistic liberty just to make the story shorter, you know, connect a dot that might have had a couple of other dots in between that I've removed just to get the story out quicker and more concisely. But beyond that, I haven't taken any artistic license with what actually occurred in the case with Mark Knight and him arguing with a fellow YouTube who he was collaborating with extensively at the time about flat earth keyring sales. I just speak about it as it was, you know, it just kind of happened as it happened. And it's indisputable in that regard. Now, it might be that someone says, well, your memory of it isn't quite accurate because it was like this, in which case you're like, well, I'm glad I changed the names, because the overall sentiment is just as is, like me describing, talking to Dave Weiss about science and how he just rejected it because at some point he must have recognised how it was incongruent with his rhetoric about using science to prove things that weren't actually proven. Therefore, plausible deniability was required, so he rejected out of hand what was being taught to him in the moment. Well, those facts are just facts. That's how it happened. So when I'm detailing it, somebody could say, that isn't the reason why you're reading between the lines. And you're like, yeah, I am. But I haven't used your real name, so get lost.
Want to say something, Len? And then I'll go.
Yep. What was the blurb for quantum entanglement? Camp something or other? I think he's going to love that.
Camp Scientologist. That's just reminding me who the characters are. So don't assume that that's having anything to do with the person that's having their name changed. It's just the character in the book. I need to remember who Johnny Bravissimo is, so I put in brackets Kung Fu Guru. You know, Simon Checkers. I need to remember that that's a sexy stranger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got most of them, but I'm trying to figure out who Neil Soprano is.
That's you. It's Nigel, not Neil.
Yeah, you need to give me the list.
Nigel Soprano.
Who's the Kung Fu Guru?
Johnny Bravissimo.
Kung Fu Guru is.
Do you remember the cartoon Johnny Bravo? My favourite. It's one of the few things I can remember from childhood that will just never go away. So the scene is a wide shot of Johnny Bravo, massive that he is. He's got this like triangle shaped body, torso, like top half of him's massive triangle, like to over exaggerate what a man looks like. So this giant triangle sat next to this tiny little stick figure that's a girl that he's out on a date with. And you can see their mouths moving, but you can't hear what they're saying as the camera zooms in from a wide shot. And as it arrives at the table, Johnny Bravo says, well, that's enough about me. Let's stop talking about me. Let's talk about me. What do you think about me?
That's funny.
I love it. Two mics still haven't turned up.
Cartoon Network?
Go ahead, John.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, was Johnny Bravo Cartoon Network or was he like USA's Cartoon Express?
Cartoon Network.
I can't remember.
He didn't have Cartoon Network. It would have made it to us via either ITV or BBC. I can't remember which. Based on it being a little bit more edgy, I would expect it to have been broadcast to us in Britain on ITV. Or even Channel 4.
Well, did you hear that Masters of the Universe is coming out with another movie?
Masters of the Universe, right, is a cartoon born out of advertising only. So they came up with toys and wanted to sell them. So to sell them, they were like, well, if we produce a cartoon, what we've essentially got is a 20-minute non-stop advert for the toys. So Masters of the Universe, that's He-Man. That's all the cartoons were. They're just trumped up adverts for toys. That's all Masters of the Universe was.
Well, then I'm right on track then, because my brother has been making toys, and I told him, why don't you give them a storyline and make them like a little cartoon. And you're telling me that's how they made Masters of the Universe?
That's like since Masters of the
Oh,
Universe,
oh.
that's what most cartoons are. They're just glorified adverts for toys.
Yeah, My Little Pony, Cabbage Patch Kids.
I'll send you
Pretty much
some
all the
pictures.
cartoons I watched as a child. G.I. Joe,
My brother's got really good toys, and he's got somebody invested in him. So I'm curious to see where it's going to go. But that's what I was telling him. Just give him a storyline. And he's a writer too. Like he's been trying to break in with screenplays or whatever writers do to try and get their material out there. So I said, then if you're a writer, write a story for them so they'll sell. But I'll see if I can gather up some pictures. He's got a pretty cool idea.
I know that you can break into that industry that seems to have worked for anybody I know is to suffer for 10 years, barely paying your mortgage, and then get a book and have it stolen. Have to painstakingly rewrite it from saved information, and then we'll see where that goes.
Who could that be?
Yeah, that's an epic guideline for success.
Speaking of He-Man, I found out that one of the toys I had as a kid was incredibly rare. So I had a He-Man and Battle Axe, if that's what the cat was, Battle Cat rather, combo pack, right? Which probably cost £2 or £3 from Toys R Us, which I got for a Christmas present. And I loved it. It was great. I played with it. Well, later, many, many, many years later, about 5 years ago, I saw that exact package on a Rare Toys video. It was like, if you've got this in pristine condition in the packaging, it's worth $6,000. I'm like, whoa, I had that. I remember chewing the Battle Cat and eating the sword. Wonderful. Anyway, the basic reason for it being rare was they released this cartoon after the toys. And in the toys, there wasn't obviously any plots to go with it, but they got a vague idea of what the characters were and what they did. And one of the subplots was that the sword, I have the power. That sword that he brings out is just a grey sword. Well, in the original toys that they produced and then eventually or quickly discontinued because they didn't match the plot of the story, they had two swords that linked together, one that was purple and one that was red. And He-Man had the red one and whatever it's called, Skeletor, had the purple one. But that was cut from the theme of the story, so it never made it in terms of what the toys represented. So because this sword was specifically bundled with the He-Man figure when it came with the Battle Cat, they only produced a few hundred of these particular toys that happened to make it to the shelves of Toys R Us when my folks were looking for toys for me. I liked He-Man, so they just picked it off the shelf and gave it me. Little did they know that that was like, oh no, we need to discontinue that immediately. The cartoon that's actually coming out doesn't have the two different coloured swords, so stop producing that and change it to a different one. Now, I remember showing it to my sister on the video, and she's like, oh, it's such a shame you didn't keep it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Number one, I've got a great story. Number two, I played with that toy. Nothing worse than having a toy that's in its packaging just sat in someone's loft. And then eventually,
No.
Yeah, I've got this He-Man toy that's worth $6,000. Not going to sell it, though.
Well, here's the thing. My cousin, his father had a cupboard. Anything new that he thought might be something, he would just buy him doubles of it. Let him play with one, save the other one. Now, did it amount to nothing? No. But it would have if he would eat the Star Wars toys, the original Star Wars toys. But he wound up opening both of them up, so. But they dropped the ball in that movie because what they should have did, this was the 80s. The WWF was freaking on fire. They should have used all wrestlers to play that movie because all the freaking toys were Diesel. Use wrestlers. They would have freaking had great success with that movie.
Well, yeah, probably would have worked. Hindsight's
And they're
20/20.
all in the actors union, right? Every single person that's a wrestler is in the actors union.
Have you seen a wrestler act? There's not very many of them that does it well. Roddy
Not the
Piper
point.
was one.
Roddy Piper was great. Hulk Hogan was great. I would have had Hulk Hogan as freaking He-Man. No doubt about it. And he got to have his whole crew with him. And then you get all the freaking heels, the bad guys, and that's Skeletor and his crew. I guarantee the movie would have done much better.
He-Man was incredibly woke. Pronouns before pronouns.
Well, remember in the cartoon, like He-Man was like when he was Prince Adam, and Battle Cat was his feline pet. Like that, everybody thought of him as like weaklings and chickens, and Battle Cat was like Scooby Doo scared, until he pulled out the sword.
Yeah, I didn't have a shot growing up because I was a big Underdog fan. And for Underdog to be anything, you would have to pop a pill. I guess my destiny was sealed.
Just pleased I got to make coffee during that conversation while the live show was running. I love this radio mic. There's no other news to go over. I know you've had a video that we could have covered, but it's 5 minutes to the end of the hour now, so we're not going to cover a video, I'm afraid, whoever provided it. We will cover it tomorrow, hopefully. Time flies, we're only having fun talking about He-Man.
Well, rather than He-Man, did you ever hear what went on the set of that Batman show from the 60s?
I can
With Adam
imagine.
West? Oh, my goodness.
Were they all incestuous and perverts?
You got to hear the stuff that was going on during the filming of a show that children will watch. But I remember it was very sensual, Catwoman and Batman. But I had the hots for freaking Batgirl.
Oh, yeah. Very good. Didn't we all?
And cartoons, you got to go with the girl from Scooby-Doo, the redhead.
My wife was asking me the other day, what's the difference between Batgirl and Catwoman? I'm like, well, one is a bat, and the other, you can figure out the rest.
One was a villain and one was a superhero.
Yeah, that's
Catwoman was
true.
a villain.
One was the freaking, slut in the street. The other one was the one you marry. Come on, let's get real.
Yeah, Catwoman was the slut in the street, and Batgirl was the one you'd marry, who was prim and proper.
Exactly. But you want her to turn into Catwoman, well, let's leave it there.
The best Catwoman was the one from Batman Returns, that played opposite Michael Keaton. Forgotten who played
Michelle
now.
Pfeiffer.
Michelle
Beg
Pfeiffer.
to differ. Beg to differ. The newest one with what's her name's daughter?
Nope.
Freaking
No.
what's the girl from Cosby Show and freaking the musician Lenny Kravitz?
Dude.
She was freaking awesome.
No. Hello there, and she knocks out the O and the T and says hell here.
Yeah, that's the one from Batman
Come on.
Returns. So one of my favourite scenes from that movie is where she's whipping the heads off all of the mannequins in the department store. She did that in one take with a real whip.
Pretty good, but I'm talking about that movie. That girl is, well, how could they have a bad looking kid? You're talking Lenny Kravitz and Lisa Bonet. I mean, what are they going to have? An ugly kid? Girl's beautiful.
Yeah, but she's still not Catwoman.
She's not got to be
Sorry.
beautiful. It's not that. What's her name again? Michelle Pfeiffer isn't beautiful. She is, right? But she's edgy. Like you said,
Yeah.
the slut in the street. Well, I'm not saying Michelle Pfeiffer looks like a slut, but she's got that edge to her, the Charlize Theron look about her where, yeah, you're probably a bit dirty. I mean, like literally dirty, like dirt on you kind of dirt. You know what I mean? That's what
No
you
doubt.
need. Batman Returns was an absolutely amazing video. It's Tim Burton.
Yeah.
The only thing that beats that movie in my eyes is Batman, The Dark Knight,
Yeah, I'd give
because
you
of
that.
Joker.
Dark Knight Rises with the proper Joker. Heath Ledger as the Joker, which is the best Joker, easily.
I don't know.
Heath
The one that I
Ledger's
just seen here.
look. I'm just saying, Heath Ledger's Joker would have Jack Nicholson's Joker in the corner crying, begging for mercy.
Yeah, I agree. And the most recent one, what's the guy with the cleft lip? What's his name? The Joker that was more recent in the
I'm
Joker.
talking about. That's the guy that freaking really did a good job on it. He was what's his name? Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah. Joaquin Phoenix is not as good as Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Jack Nicholson was better than Joaquin Phoenix, and Heath Ledger was the best Joker. Easily.
And Adam West was the best Batman.
Batman
Michael
Returns
Keaton.
is the best.
Nobody
Batman.
beats Michael Keaton. That's why when Flash came out and he was Batman again, that was pretty cool.
The thing about the Michael Keaton Batman, right, that made the character seem better was that the stiff neck of the suit meant he couldn't turn his head. So he had this kind of robotic ease to everything he did. Now, obviously, it's all choreographed fights, but it made Batman seem like everything was effortless. And it was because Michael Keaton was having to, in a very stiff way, turn his whole body to look at a bad guy, and everything was kind of a bit more forced. But to make that look good, Michael Keaton managed to make Batman look like everything was effortless. Whereas in the more modern ones, you're like, well, it's just a dude in a suit, as opposed to so skilled that everything just happens around him with him still doing it. So I don't know. I like Batman Returns. I think that's the best Batman movie. Close second is Dark Knight Rises. It's got loads of plot holes in it, though. There we go.
Michael Keaton is dead.
See, The Dark Knight Rises, Heath Ledger wasn't supposed to die. He was supposed to come back for the third movie and take the place of Scarecrow. He was going to be head of the judge and jury of Gotham. And oh my God, that would have been such a good movie. So I feel like he was cut short on that.
This is what happens when you make a movie like Brokeback Mountain. He never was able to get over that.
What?
That's a fact.
I don't know about that.
That's why he freaking became a pill addict and shit. Yeah.
Nah.
You're insane.
No.
Just an actor. What are you talking about?
That's the inside scoop. He was never able to get over those freaking scenes. I mean, he's an actor. That don't mean shit.
Okay, if you're picking up this live show live and you're wondering why we're talking about movies, it's because we did a little adaptation at the beginning of the live show. We rehearsed it in the pre-show. A few flat men. That's why. So it is relevant. It is literally on topic. We're not doing after show stuff in the main live show, I promise.
You don't see freaking Sylvester Stallone killing himself. He's freaking Rocky.
Adrian!
Ain't kissing no man.
What are you talking about? The Italian stallion porn star?
Doesn't matter. He didn't kiss no man and wound up freaking weighing on him his whole life.
Yeah, but he literally did porn because he was broke.
Yeah, that's not even true. You can't validate that. That's a lookalike.
Right, let's round out this live show. On that note, I'll say if you're watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Hit me up on PayPal and Patreon, all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley and I will see you all in the next video.
But when you measure it flat, it contradicts that. I'm spitting flat facts and that. And I know you don't like that. Google Maps is flat, it presents elevation profiles like that. I'm a spitting flat earth king. Sentence has a ring, doing my own thing. If earth was a big roast chicken, factually finger licking chicken, we just got the measurements missing. I'm spitting eggs and begs, begging the question lesson. I've said it before, time after time. I'm the spitting flat earth king of rhyme.